However, a more foreboding incident occurred that loomed like an ominous tower at twilight over a desolate countryside. Paul Rogers was the son of the Fort Thomas military post chaplain. He and I sometimes played tennis at the post. Because rank has its privileges, Paul and I occasionally went to the officers' mess to feast on cake, pie, and ice cream. We also had the run of other areas at the post, such as the stable tack room and commissary, routinely off limits to outsiders. While roaming around with Paul, I came across a lethally rigged trick door in the stable tack room, exactly like the door I had seen in the duplex of the imitation Cagliostro, a Ku Klux Klan Freemason. I marveled at its similarity to the one in Dallas and examined it carefully. If it wasn't the same door, it was identical, which in itself is a 1 in a million synchronicity. Oddly, Paul Rogers denied any knowledge of or interest in the deadly door. Nor were my parents interested when I told them that the door at Fort Thomas was exactly like the one in Dallas. I wondered whether mystical Ku Klux Klan Freemasonry doings were taking place on the dark and bloody ground of Kentucky, too. Since I had so often been oblivious to the cruel and strange facts of my life, it didn't really dawn on me then that there was in the making a plan to maim or kill me. Why would anyone want to hurt me, was my foolish refrain, born of forgetfulness. Again from James Shelby Downard's The Carnivals of Life and Death, a Farrow House book. Fascinating story by this guy. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Stench of Truth. I see that Barry Soetoro, aka Barack Obama, is going out on the road to stump to get Democratic voters to the polls in the coming election. And he is decrying voter apathy. Well, let's see, motherfucker, what is their reason for people to have voter fucking apathy? Democrats have been in control of both houses of Congress for years. And what do we have to show for it? We have a bunch of assholes who have succeeded in giving trillions of dollars to fucking banks. We have seen a rise and continual rise in unemployment as the manufacturing base is systematically destroyed in this fucking country. We have seen a growth and continued rise in foreclosures and people being put out on the fucking street. We have seen flat wages even as CEO and executive pay has increased exorbitantly. We have seen the proof in the census that there is a widening gap between the rich and the fucking poor. Now, this all under the watchful eye of the Democratic wing of the corporate motherfucking party. And people should be excited about voting? Don't get me wrong. The Republican wing of the corporate party is just as bad, maybe worse in some ways, because they'll just steal the money right from you, whereas the Democratic wing of the Republican Party will steal it and make you feel like you needed to have it stolen while they steal it. Now, I'd like to comment about a couple things here and show you a couple of different scenarios very quickly. First of all, okay, the Democratic wing of the Republican Party is supposedly for the people and unions, and yet Obama/Soetoro is a union buster working with the SEIU, which is a union-busting union. And he has already shown his propensity to go after labor by targeting teachers. Okay? So there's the lie to that. Now, they're supposed to be the party of the people, and they cannot even get a vote on extending the fucking tax cuts to the middle class. Leave the fucking idea of whether you're going to do it for the rich for later, for Christ's sake. And have a vote now to decide that you're going to take a stand and make sure the taxes don't get raised on the middle class. But no, they can't even do that. That's how fucking useless they are. And people are supposed to be excited about voting. I want to point out to you that back in the 1950s, whenever this country was experiencing its golden age, perhaps, where we had massive production in this country, where we had massive prosperity for everybody, we had a growing middle class, and we were the masters of the fucking world. Do you know what the rich paid in income tax back then? I'm sure a lot of you do. It was in the 90 fucking % range. Did that do anything to hamper our fucking economy? No. No, it didn't. And lacking any kind of action when it comes to trade, and that is imposing tariffs, most specifically, and doing away with the supposed free trade agreements, which have done nothing but bleed us of production and jobs in this country, and severely wound us. The only other option is to raise corporate income tax and put severe penalties on companies that offshore and outsource. And I'm tired of hearing the arguments that raising taxes on corporations merely means that their costs will be passed on to the consumer. Well, their costs are passed on to you anyway because they're already raping you. Me, as a flesh and blood human fucking being, I have an effective tax rate, including everything, federal, state, local, etc., approaching 50 fucking %. And as long as I have to pony up every year with my 10 fucking 40 and pay the IRS their extortion, I want corporations to pay something, God damn it! And I don't care that they're going to pass their costs on because it's going to reach a point of no return. If I have to pay 28, 30, whatever it is, % to the federal government, I am not going to sit here and accept the fact that ExxonMobil can pay less than 5%. I'm not going to accept the fact that Goldman Sachs, who is one of the chief instigators in the economic fucking collapse that this country has experienced, pays virtually 0% in federal tax. Absolutely not. So what about the elections? Who are you going to vote for? You have two wings of a corporate party. The Tea Party is a no-win situation, as I've already described. Vote for the best that you think, but I think that we need to focus on solutions at the local level, and that is trying to build communities around ourselves. Communities that help each other out. Communities that will try and help families who are losing their homes. Communities that will try to help people who are struggling to feed themselves. Communities that are willing to work within their own bounds to help the people within those same bounds. And then maybe a movement can be born that is real and true and can be passed up the ladder into the federal arena. Do not just abandon being politically active. I'm not going to. put pressure all the time, because there is always a chance that enough of it will be put that things will change. I still believe that the answer lies in trying to retake our government back from the corporations and making it once again work for the people. That's where the ultimate answer lies, because any other way puts the corporations and the rich in charge, de facto. And just because the government is corrupt and it's selling out and it works for the corporations right now, there is still that legal idea that they are supposed to work for us. They are supposed to look out for our best interests. So, focusing on trying to take the government back by putting pressure on them, staying politically active, engaging in non-compliance, and all of the other things that we've been doing is vitally important. But at the same time, try to start building communities, because we need to realize that there's a possibility that you're going to have to rely on that. So, just some thoughts for you to think about. Thank you. Good day.